Hi, welcome to Camp Happy Mail. I'm Maureen, and first I want to thank you for coming back for part 2 of the adventures with the Reverse Emboss Blackout Technique. If you remember from the video last week, I demonstrated the main way to do the Reverse Emboss Blackout Technique. I had one panel that didn't quite go as planned, and we figured out how to still make it into a usable panel by flipping it over and just redoing the technique on the other side. In today's video, you will see how to tackle the same obstacle if you don't emboss on the correct side and don't really feel like redoing the entire blending scenario again on that flip side. So in case you missed a video from last week demonstrating the technique, I'll show you the basics in this video, and then we'll share some different and unexpected outcomes. So here we go with the second panel. This was a different embossing folder. I'm pretty excited about this one because that second embossing folder has a nice big sunflower on it, and I really like sunflowers. So I was kind of excited to try this one. I'm also going to try the technique again where I ink blend just a bunch of colors on that top panel that's not been embossed, just to see if I can actually do this the right way this time and get the right side of that embossed after it's done. I am going to start to speed this up a little bit because it is just the same technique as we previously did, where I will be lightly embossing over the debossed side of this panel. As you can see on that image, there was a little bit more color needed. There was a lot more variety of things on that image than there was on the first one that we did. Overall, I really like the colors of this. I wanted it to have kind of a fall look to it. And now we're going to take that top panel where I just ink blended on the cardstock, and we're going to run that through the Big Shot with the embossing folder. We'll follow the same procedure as we did the last time, where it'll be base plate, embossing folder with the ink blended panel in it, 3 sheets of watercolor paper, and then that top embossing pad. Let's see if I do it right this time, because I want the debossed area to be the color, and I'm pretty certain that I just put that in there the wrong way. Again. That panel should have been turned upside down because now I'm probably going to end up with the debossed being white, just like the first one. Full disclosure, it took me a couple tries to get this right. But this is what it's all about. It's all trial and error, and we're just going to do this, and whatever happens, happens. And maybe there's a lesson to be learned here. Let's see. All right, time for the big reveal. And again, obviously a little frustrated there. I totally did not put the paper in the right way, and I ended up with the embossed side sticking up with the color on it. But you know what? We're not gonna give up on this. We are gonna come back, and I'm trying to figure out, what did I do wrong? How did I do this a second time? But it's okay. We're still gonna use that panel anyways. And I'm gonna show you actually what happens when you ink over that side. And maybe this will help us to get it right the next time. So now we're going to start again. I got to put down a silicone mat. And now that we have both panels to work with, I'm going to pull out the black ink pad and I'm going to start swiping it over these. We're going to set that messed up panel aside for now and just start with the one that was done the right way. I really like the way that the colors turned out on this. It really does remind me of fall. And I apparently grabbed the wrong ink pad. This is the one that needs to be re-inked. I did like the look of this. It kind of reminded me, it was rustic and it looked like, wood grain panels running down it. And I actually kind of wish that I would have just left it this way. But I really wanted to try the technique the way that I've seen it done. I've not seen anybody do it this way. I guess it could have been a new thing. And I'm setting that ink pad up aside because it obviously needs to be re-inked. And I'm going to grab a AlteNew Obsidian ink. This is also a spongy ink pad. So I got to be real careful with this one because it will bleed down into those indented areas, and I don't really want it to do that. And this one could probably use a little bit of ink as well. I think I just need a day in my craft room where I re-ink everything. I think that'll be coming up soon. So we're going to go ahead and swipe this down and try to get the background as black as possible. Still trying to keep as much of the color on this as I can. But there are some places that the ink pad is seeping down into where the colors are, and that's okay. I still think it has kind of a rustic look to it, and I actually kind of like this one. This might be my new favorite. So now I'm going to show you what happens if you ink over the embossed side. This is with the flowers raised up on the panel. And I was actually debating, do I want to do this? Do I want to ruin this? Is it worth the ink to swipe down over this? So I decided to go ahead and finish out the technique on this panel, even though I know this is not the way that they intended it to be. But I just wanted to show you what happens if you do it this way and you mess it up like I did. Because the areas of the flower are raised up instead of being indented in or debossed, it's picking up more of the ink pad, of course, because it's sticking up higher. So it's not a total loss. I think we can still make this into a nice card. We just need to decide at what point, is it done? It's hard to tell. So I'm just going to keep swiping the ink pads over this and getting the background as black as possible. But I still wanted to see some of the color within it so that you could make out what it was, that there's a sunflower and some foliage there. And yeah, so I'm just going to keep swiping over it until I get it dark enough. And we'll see if we like it or if we just need to put it in the bin. So I realized at this point, I thought I was done with this panel, and then I saw that this little edge over here, there was a little bit more orange shining through than what I wanted. So I went ahead and just swiped some more black ink over that just to make sure it was covered really well. So now we're going to go ahead and clean that mat up. But here are the two panels. One done the way the technique is meant to be, and the other one not so much the way it's supposed to be, but I actually kind of like it. What do you think? Which one do you like better? The way it's supposed to be or the way that it's not supposed to be, but it could be a new way? So we still have one more panel to try this technique on. It's a different embossing folder than what these two were. So let's do a little bit of cleanup here and get the desktop reset, and let's work on that one. My approach with these last two panels is very much the same, for starters, as the last four. I have one panel that has been run through the Big Shot with the embossing folder, and the other one has not, and I'm just randomly ink blending colors on it. I will speed up this video so that you can see me do the ink blending on these, and then you'll see that there's going to be a different outcome to these, so I hope you'll stick around. So now that the ink blending is done, and I've gone ahead and cleaned up our workspace, we're going to go ahead and pull out that Big Shot again one last time to run the plain panel through it, and hopefully we'll put it in there the right way this time. Maybe third time is a charm. And for the big reveal, we did it right, finally. So now we have two panels that we can do this technique on. The first one, and I'm trying to figure out which way this goes because it is the reverse, and so I'm trying to figure out which end is up. Yeah, I think that'll work. So now we have two panels to work with. So I'm going to break out that silicone mat again, and I think I'm going to start with the panel that we just ran through the embossing folder. This is the one that I just randomly blended colors on. And we're going to go ahead and swipe this with the black ink to see what we get. Well, I have to say that for randomly just blending colors in wherever I wanted to on that panel, I think this embossing folder that I used on this actually worked out pretty well because one of the flowers is yellow and one of them is a pink and yellow, and I think it actually came out kind of pretty. It looks a lot different than the other panel, I think mainly because I didn't have any green or greenish yellow on it. But overall, I think it turned out really well. I'm a little surprised that the black sunk down into the flowers so much, but I think it gives it an interesting look, kind of like that blue panel that we did first. So now I'm looking at this last panel that we have to work with, and I'm looking at the colors on this, and I really like how the colors on this looked. And the more I stood here and thought about this, the more I thought, I really don't want to swipe this with black ink, because I was afraid that it would end up with black ink over top of most of the flowers and the leaves, and I just thought it was really pretty how it was. So I debated for quite a long time about should I actually go ahead and swipe this with black ink. And ultimately, I decided not to. I thought I would do something different just to see how it would come out. So I decided instead of swiping this one with black ink and risking ruining it, that I would go ahead and just ink blend the rest of the background with greens and yellows and other colors, just to finish it out as it was. Did you ever do that? Did you ever create something, planning to do one thing with it, and then you get to looking at it and you think, I really kind of like it the way it is, and gosh, I really don't want to mess that up. So you decide to just try something different. And that's exactly what I did here. So I'm going to go ahead and speed this up through the rest of this ink blending, and we'll take a look at it, what it comes out to be. Now that we're all done with the ink blending, we'll go ahead and get the desktop cleaned up so we have a little bit of space to lay out the panels that we made last week and the ones from this week. And we'll take a look and see what we think. Do you have a favorite of the 6? I know I definitely do, and my favorite actually changed once I made them into the cards. So let me know what you think. And I want to thank you again for coming back to see this video, part 2 of the Reverse Emboss Blackout Technique. And next week I will have the conclusion to this, where I show at least making 2 of the cards, but I will have pictures of all 6 of the cards that were made. So I hope that you'll come back to see those. And until then, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.